Happy New Year, everybody, and God bless you. I'm Jackie Gales Webb. This is HUR at Home Inspiration. Today is January 9th, 2022, our first HUR at Home Inspiration in the new year. We started this at the outbreak of the COVID-19 pandemic as a way to connect when we were all stuck inside. We thought that we would be through with all of this, but as it turns out, we are not. This is the new normal. Digital, connecting over, online, and in ways that we never connected before has proven to be beneficial, inspiration. We've had inspirational and outstanding guests throughout, and today is no exception. Thank you so much for joining us. I see that Charles Keener is with us. God bless you, Charles. It's always good to see your name. Thank you so much. Marcella Rich is with you. Happy New Year, Marcella. And I invite all of you to do as they have done. Put your names and your comments in the chat. And if you have any questions for me or for our guest, please put them in the chat so we can have a conversation. Kenyon McAfee is with us. Happy New Year to you, Kenyon. Always good to see you. God bless you. Tonight we have a dynamic individual, someone who her voice is just so strong and so inspirational, and she has been through so much, and she is beautiful within and she is beautiful without. And we want to welcome to HUR at Home Inspiration, Karima. Karima, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us from Nashville. Are you Nashville, right? Nashville, Tennessee? Can you hear me? Oh, maybe she can't hear me. Can you hear me? Oh, so we're going to check. But she's here. She's here, but unfortunately, maybe her volume is turned down on her computer. But as we're getting that settled, let's welcome Miss Battle. Her name is Tawania Battle. So good to see your name, Tawania. Odessa Moore is with us, and Tracy White Fox is with us, and also Isabella from Dubai. God bless you, Isabella, and thank you so much for joining us this evening. I wonder if she can hear us. Karima, can you hear me now? I think our producer, Steve Robinson, is trying to work with her through the private chat to see if, oh, yes, she can't hear us just yet. That's interesting. So maybe, yeah, we're going to ask her to log out and then log back in, and maybe her sound will come back in at that point. Well, good. All right. Well, this gives me a chance to talk to you, Vernestine Strickland, who has joined us. Thank you so much. And Matthew Carlos Salgado Sr. from Washington, D.C. is with us. And I pray that everybody had a great New Year's. It's just so enlightening to see Bernice Lane joining us. And I'm just so thankful that you all are with us, because I tell you, when I do Gospel Spirit and I receive email and mail from listeners, just this past Sunday, I've received so many emails asking for prayers for people and relatives and loved ones who have gone through and contracted COVID-19 over the holidays. And Vernestine Strickland says, we missed you. I missed you all too. Didn't know what to do with myself on Sunday evenings, but it was certainly great to be here. And let's see, I think Karima is ready now. I think she can hear me now. There she is.
Hi.
Can you hear me?
How are you?
Good. God allowed us to work it out.
Yes.
Now, for all of you who have joined us, thank you so much once again. Karima has been in the gospel music industry for many years. She recently relaunched a solo career But in the beginning, she was with the group that she co-founded, Virtue. And Virtue has always been excellent as far as the harmony, the song selection, the production of their music. How many albums, Karima, did you put out with Virtue?
Probably, I think a total of 7.
Okay.
Yeah, it's about 7.
So let's back up and take you back to growing up in New Orleans, right? And tell us about that, and tell us about Oakwood HBCU in Huntsville, Alabama.
Sure. Yes, I am from I claim New Orleans until the day I die, even though I've been in Nashville for 23 years. But I was born and raised there, and in a single parent home with my loving mother, who is the most faithful woman I know. Like, she has taught me everything I know about faith and what it means to persevere through any situation. And so we were less fortunate. We had a house fire, so we had to move in with my grandmother at a very young age. I was about almost 5, maybe 5 years old. And we kind of stayed there because my dad had left my mom, and we were so young and she needed the help. And so we stayed with my grandmother, and I didn't realize we were poor until I got a little older, because, when you have love, you don't lack anything else. And we had so much love in our family, in our home, that, it took other people outside of our home to like whisper in our ears and tell us what we didn't have. But it still didn't matter to us. We grew up in a house full of love, full of God. Thank God we had God at the forefront of everything we did. And my mom just made sure that we stayed in church. We didn't even have a car. We walked to church often, and to this day, I have no regrets. It's all character building. I wouldn't change my bringing up for anything. It was amazing. And my mom, about high school, I realized that I didn't want to go to school because I think I was more nervous of failing school because I always had this mentality of not being smart enough. And I don't know where that came from. No one in my family instilled that in my brain. I don't know if I heard it but I felt it, and it just stuck with me. And so I was nervous. But around the age of 8 is when I realized that I really could sing. And so I was like, oh, well, maybe I can do that. I don't know how it will transpire. My older sister, Dion, who lives in Atlanta, she actually was at the house and she heard me singing, and she told my mother, and I overheard their conversation. And so that stuck with me. I'm like, oh, something I can do and do well. And so it kind of stayed with me, never left me. My mom had us in choirs from the age of 3 up until like every time we went to church, we were singing in front of an audience. So from that point on, at like high school, I was very sick as a child. I had asthma horribly, almost failed high school. And so that actually made me feel scary, like just scared for my life in general and what to do. And so I passed by the skin of my teeth, and I told my mom, listen, can I go to hair school? Can I do hair? Like, I think I can do that and master it well. She was like, absolutely not. I want you to live your dream, but not in New Orleans. You guys will not stay here. There's no opportunity for you here. I had a 3rd grade education. You will not experience that. You and all your sisters will leave New Orleans. And so we did. And if I hadn't, because, God, he's such a promise keeper. He's so awesome. And he never lacks. Like, if I hadn't gone to Oakwood, HBCU in Huntsville, Alabama, there my first year, I got a record deal. I was asked to put a group together for, Oakwood is a Christian college or university now. And so we had Friday night worship services where we had singing and we had testimonies, and, it was just a gathering to remind us of the week that we had. And, like, God brought us through. It was amazing. So I ended up putting a group together, and we sang one song, When God Is in the Building, by the Pace Sisters. And it got all the way to California. Word travels so fast. And people were like, you guys need to stay a group. You need to stay a group. We were like, okay. So we stayed a group, started rehearsing a lot. We would come to Nashville rehearsing. And there was a lady that came to our rehearsals. It was Roger Ryan. People may know Roger Ryan. Roger Ryan was rehearsing us, and his friend, this lady named Tara Griggs McGee, was starting up a label in New York, Verity Records, and she would come to our rehearsal. We had no idea who she was, no clue. I have goosebumps telling you this because I am so, God is just amazing. He's so strategic in every single thing that he does. So we got a record deal. It was like overnight. She introduced herself to us and told us, I want you guys to be, or ladies, I should say, to be the first female group on Verity Records. And we were like, what? And it happened that quick. It happened that quick. And I've been in the industry for 25 years. I hadn't looked back. But I do know that God, when you ask God for things specifically, you have to be ready to move. And so I was still a little nervous about, I would think about the solo aspect of, leaving the group, but then fear always stopped me. Like, who's going to want to hear Karima by herself? She's the lead singer in a group. What's the difference? Just stay in the group. And so I let that handicap me for a while until I had to be forced to do it on my own. We went on a hiatus. And because I didn't finish school, I'm like, oh my God, my whole background is music. What do? I have no clue. So I decided that, I'd been married for 11, 12 years and I divorced. And so it's been about 12 years since I divorced. And so God was like, if you're going to do this, you got to do it. And so I stepped out on faith and I reached out to a young man by the name of Terrell King in Atlanta. And we wrote 18 songs. I'd never written a song by myself or with anyone for that matter. I mean, maybe, touching here and there with Virtue, but not anything serious. God allowed me to write 18 songs. And I released a 10-song album called Just Karima about 11 years ago. And I was just like, oh my God, like, cause I had no clue, no money. It takes money to do these things. And I'm like, God, like, I don't know what you want me to do, but if you want me to do it, I'll step out on faith. I'll do it scared. And that's kind of been my motto. Do it scared. Because if you don't, like, how will you ever know, your greatness? And God is not going to give you an idea and not let you actually make it come to fruition. He gives us all of our ideas. Our best ideas come from him. So I'm like, okay, God. So that happened and Virtue got back together on track and we hit another plateau of a low, I should say. Well, the industry is so fickle, up and down, up and down. So we were like, everybody has a family. Maybe we should just take another break. And I'm like, oh my God, another break? What am I going to do? So in that time, I went back to school. I went back and got a degree. I went back for 4 years. It was the hardest thing I'd ever done in my entire life because I was nervous that I wouldn't grasp, but I feel like maybe I needed to wait because I had better attention span. It was easier for me. I went and got a degree in entrepreneurship. And
I know. And I was reading about your soup chic business that sold your homemade chicken noodle soup, which
yes,
I need some right now because it's cold here in DC. But that's fabulous. You entrepreneurship, top earning, home furnishing design consultant. You're just multi-talented. And, I just really want to commend and honor your mother, what you have told us about her saying, I've got to get my children out of here. She allowed God to put you all in the right place.
She did.
And I wanted to ask you about Oakwood College because I believe that's where you met your former husband. And as you mentioned, you had a amicable divorce. And I want to get from you what that experience was like and what you learned from that experience.
From the divorce?
Yes.
I have learned more than anything. I've learned more about myself and what the things I need as an individual to make a relationship work. Because at the end of the day, I do believe that any two people that really want a relationship to work can make it work. But when you're so far on the other side of it not working, it just does not pan out that way. And through the process, I mean, it wasn't hard, but it wasn't easy because no one gets married with the intention of getting a divorce. That was not my intention. I felt like I needed more of a friend, someone who understood Karima, who paid attention to Karima versus everything else. And he's a wonderful guy. Everybody knows he is. But
Right,
it
right.
just
For
sometimes
those who
things
don't
just
know, we're talking about Joel Kibble
Joe, yes.
from Take Six, is
Mm-hmm.
her former husband.
Yes. And Joey's remarried with a little girl who I adore. She's so cute. She's about 3 years old now, almost 4. We share a 16-year-old. And the main thing I've learned is communication. Like you have to, there's no ifs, ands, or buts. And that stands for, just goes throughout any relationship. If you're not communicating, you're destined, to fail. And so those are the things as far as communicating and knowing myself to actually speak on what it is I really needed and wanted versus being afraid to speak up. Those are the things I'm taking with me into whatever God leads me into next,
Well, let's
And
go
so,
back to your strong mother, because now, your 16-year-old is in a single mother household. So what did you learn from your strong mother who raised you in a single parent household that you're carrying over and is helping you with your 16-year-old daughter?
that if you don't put God first, you're not going as far as, I don't know, your front door. Like seriously, like there's nothing without God. I've learned more faith than anything, and I what I see, Carly is watching every single thing I do, and so I have to make sure that what I'm doing, this girl is picking up all the good, And so my mom always instilled in us to be kind to everyone, to be respectful to everyone, to, live your dream, but also make sure you're consulting that it's what God wants you to do. And so with Carly, this girl is multi-talented and it's scary to watch her. I'm just like, that's my child. Oh my God. She's so talented.
A singer? What's the talent?
She sings, she paints, she plays the ukulele, she does hair. She wants to be an actress. She has all the creative juices. I mean, she sells her art. She sold art here in Nashville to NFL players. And she has a couple of, she has a painting right now in Drake's nightclub all the way in Toronto.
Wow.
Like she paints so beautiful, has never taken one lesson. And I remember when Carly was about 4, she brought a picture to me and I'm like, did you trace that? And she's like, no, mommy, I watched it on TV and I drew it. Phenomenal. And so I just pour into her. And like, this is what my mom did. She believed in everything we wanted to do. So she definitely guided us. Like she told us, no, you're not staying in New Orleans. There's no possibility of you staying. So I just pray that God continues to instill in me the things that he wants me to birth through her. You know what I mean? Like I told God, help me to live my dream so I can actually fund this girl's dream. Seriously, because there's so much she wants to do. And her dad is definitely present. But as her mother, I want to be involved. I want to say I left a legacy, which is the next thing we're doing. We have a clothing line coming out in about 2 weeks.
Oh.
It's an athleisure line. And I'm telling you, 2022, I told God, listen, just like I told him I wasn't going back to being a design consultant. And this was a beautiful facility. It was so gorgeous. I met so many influential people. And I mean, like, it was just, you want to be there. It was so beautiful, right? But you go to a place and you sometimes feel empty, even though it's so beautiful and you're around people that's making you laugh, but there is something still inside. And that is what I felt towards. I told God, I said, I'm going to give myself a year because I had to take care of myself, take care of my bills. I said, but give me something that I enjoyed. Gave me that. But he knew I wasn't completely satisfied until I started verbalizing those things like, okay, God, it's time. So 1 year turned into 2 at this place. I'm like, okay, that's it. I said, by January, God, I can't go back. This was 2020. I told 2020 in July, I told God I wasn't going back. I said, January, I started praying a prayer. I was walking these beautiful long hallways, praying out loud, talking to God like I'm talking to you. Like, listen, God, you promised every single thing I've asked you, you've given me. And I know that if it's something that you're making me wait for, I will be patient. Just give me the patience. But I really do believe that singing, it can't be over. It can't be over. This is my first love, God. Like, how do I get back into it? So that was July. I started praying that prayer. By August, I'd reached out to that same guy in Atlanta who I loved so dearly, Terrell, and he's so talented. I said, I got the writing bug. Like, we got to write something. I got to get something, some music out. I don't have an outlet for it. I don't have money to put, but the way that technology is today, you could put out a song in a week. You know what I mean? And so that was my mindset. I didn't worry about what I didn't have. And that's where we get like caught up in what we don't have in the process. And we lose sight of what God has already given us to move forward in. And I'm just like, God, I don't want to miss one more step. So I'm going to just do it scared. I'm going to just do it with no money, and you're going to provide. And every single time I believe and I verbalize and I say that and I believe it, that's what happens. He totally opens doors. And so I started listening to the, looking at social media, and Lisa and Juan Winans had a song out called It Belonged to Me. And I love this song. It resonated. I mean, I cried tears. A whole river. And I'm just like, oh, this is such a beautiful song. And the words are so amazing. God, it does belong to you. But God was having me pay attention more to who put their stuff out, who put their music out, the quality of the picture, the quality of the sound. I paid attention to every single thing. And I was like, wow, who put their stuff out? I started thinking these things, right? And I said, you know what? That's what I need. I said, God, without it making me feel like I'm coveting, I want what they have. I want whoever put their stuff out. That's what I want. That's what I deserve. God, I need someone who believes in my music, believes in me as a solo artist, to just pour into me. So I'm asking you for that particular, I don't even know who it is, God, but you do. I prayed that prayer, Miss Gales, I promise you. And, through the praying process, you get a little discouraged because you don't see things right away. You want an immediate answer, but I've learned that even God's, no's are good. Even his not right nows are good. And so I had to be patient. So October rolls around and I'm like, okay, I didn't put the song that I've written called Up, How God Kept Me Up Through a Pandemic. It's such a fun song. I didn't put this little piece out, and I'm telling people I got music coming out and I don't know how it's going to happen. Ooh, this does not feel good. So October rolled around and I prayed the prayer again. Lord, please, whoever is in the lives of Lisa and Juan Winans, their record label, please let them reach out to me. That sounds crazy. I know, but you are the God that does impossible things. So I'm going to trust you. I'm going to trust you. I promise you. 10 minutes later, I checked my DMs on Instagram and I had a message from the CEO himself. The CEO. I have goosebumps.
Everyone watching and saying amen. That
I had
wonderful testimony.
Because, and I don't want to cry because my eyelashes will fall off, Lord Jesus. God is so faithful. It's when you ask and when you believe. And I just believed. I had this childlike faith. And when we grow older, we kind of lose that. We lose sight in asking God for the things we want and for him to show up and truly believe it. I believed with all my heart that it wasn't over for me. Because at one point I really thought it was. I thought it was. And I had a message from the CEO, and it was so funny because he said, Wody, what's up? Now, being from New Orleans, people from New Orleans know what Wody means. I'm like, who is this man? He's like, hey, I just wanted to reach out to you. He said, man, there's a light on your page. He said, there is something that there's something that draws me to your page. And he said, I don't know if you remember me. He said, but I worked with Virtue 19 years ago. I was like,
wow.
What? And so I was like, oh, wow, I guess he saw the song. And I'm looking like, dang, God, that was so quick. That was so quick, And he said, I just needed to ask what you were doing. Are you doing any music? Are you singing with virtue? What is going on with you? I was like, what? So after picking my face up and like just being like completely like in shock, I'm like, Jesus, you worked so quick. So
Wow.
he goes on to tell me that, no, Karima, because I asked him, I said, so did you hear the song on my page? Is that why you reached out? He said, what song? Never saw a song. Never heard a song. He said, maybe you could send me the song so I can hear it.
Wow.
So I sent him the song and he was like, oh, that's wonderful. He said, so you want a record deal? I was like, what?
Reverend Michelle Reynolds says, but God
I
is able.
couldn't make it up if I tried.
Yes.
I couldn't make it up if I tried. By December, I had a record deal and we had talked about, me reintroducing myself to the industry as a solo artist, because oftentimes, you want to do your own thing. You want to put your own music out, but I'm different. I'm like, look, if it's something stronger, if there's something else that I need to do, tell me what I need to do. You're a professional in that area. Tell me.
And I wanted to ask you about that because you did put out Just Karima.
Yeah.
And so I wanted to ask you, what did you learn from putting out Just Karima? Because it seems that it didn't reach the heights that you wanted it to reach.
You know what? I think it was all, it was practice. I think that I had to do it and it had to fail, but I had to trust to do it all over again. And that is what God has been working with me on for a while. Like, just because it didn't work this time doesn't mean it's not going to work the next time. And so I also learned, you can't trust everybody. And not that I work with some really incredible people, but everybody isn't who they say they are, in any situation, in any relationship, business, personal. You have to really have discernment and pray for it, like seriously, because people are often in it for themselves. You know what I mean? And I don't knock anybody's hustle or anything, but I know that it probably would have done a lot better had I had the structure that I have now. But I do believe timing is everything as well. And so just because it failed, and I mean, it did okay. Like you said, it just didn't reach this height. I just don't think it was time. I wasn't, I personally, I don't think I was ready.
Well, you're ready now.
Oh yes.
Everybody loves
I'm so
Redeemer.
ready now. But God showed me, Nicole C. Mullins' version of Redeemer a few weeks prior to even talking to the CEO. I played it in my car, like out of the blue, randomly. I play it like, a couple times a year because I love the song. I genuinely love it. And it's always resonated with me in the sense of it being a testimony versus just a song. You know what I mean? Like, God is
what I love about your version is, because I love Nicole Mullins' version too, but I also love yours. I mean, what you do that song and bring to that song, it is a testimony for you.
It is. I sing my testimony, and that is why and I told God to do something different with it, and so when I brought it to my sister had called me, Heather called me, my baby sister that sings with me in Virtue. And I was just humming it because it had just gone off. And when somebody calls you, the music cuts off. And I was singing it. She was like, now that's the song you should do over. I was like, Heather, I was thinking the same thing. I think you just confirmed it. You just confirmed it. And so when I told the CEO, Mr. Taylor, he was like, oh, absolutely. He said, I know exactly what we're going to do. So he reached out to Aaron Lindsay and they talked about it just a little while. And what you hear is from the masterminds of the CEO and Mr. Aaron Lindsay, producer extraordinaire. Amazing.
Mm-hmm.
So
I was told that one of your sisters lives in the DMV area. Is that Heather?
Ebony? Yes. Ebony is there. Yeah. I was actually just there. I spent Thanksgiving with Ebony. She threatened us and told us one of us better come and spend the holiday with her. And so since Carly was with her father this past Thanksgiving, I was like, well, I'm free, Ebony, I'll come. So I actually came and stayed a week with Ebony in the DMV.
So is Redeemer the start of like a full album, or you're just putting it one song out at a time?
Well, it's more of a single deal that I did with Dear Records. People have been asking for at least an EP, and so we've been talking about it just a little bit. But right now we are actually gearing up. I'm heading to Miami in a couple of weeks to do a new photo shoot for the next single that Mr. Aaron Lindsay has produced and written. Beautiful song.
Will
So
there be a music video?
you know what? There are talks of it, and so my fingers are crossed because I think I need one of those. Do you
Yeah.
hear that, dear?
Definitely. Everything's visual now.
Yes,
You know?
everything is.
Yeah. So you also mentioned an upcoming clothing line. When is that going to happen, and how can we see it? Where do we go?
Okay, so it is. I literally just confirmed a few other pieces. Like I designed everything myself, so it's been a bit of a process. I've taken all the pictures. I've done all of my own graphics. I've done it all. So it's a little. It's a lot, but it's amazing because it's my baby. And you can actually find if you go to Shop Karima Brand right now, shopkarimabrand.com. You can sign up to be on my email list, so you get all of the details about the official launch date. And it'll definitely be launched before January is over because I've already started working on the second phase of designs that I want to do. So it's an athleisure line because I love, like, I have on a dress and a hat. I mean, most people would wear heels with it, but I would throw tennis shoes on with this, and it's dressy. I love, chunky sweaters. I love the windbreakers and the leggings, and I work out a lot. So I just wanted to create something fun. And the Karima brand, this is Make It Rain Sunshine. And that's a whole nother testimony within itself as well. It's just a page that I started on Instagram for women because I, as a single woman, I've dated, I've been hurt, I've been disgusted. And I'm just the one person that I dated and thought I was going to marry. He broke up with me. And so, I mean, at the time, you don't view that as God shutting doors. You know what I mean? So I cried my eyes out in my closet, on the floor in my closet. And I was just through. And I told God, I said, listen, just don't do me any more favors in that area. This man had me quit my job. I did all the things, and I'm just like, wow. And he said no. And how, but besides the point, God had given me this thing. He's like, you know what? It's time for you to share your testimony, and you're going to help others get happy through making it rain sunshine in any way possible. Like if that's shopping, if that's doing something for someone else, if that is doing something for yourself, you're going to make it rain sunshine. And I'm just like, God, but I don't want to make it rain sunshine because I'm not happy right now. I don't even know how to find the sun right now. But he had me do it. He gave me the idea. I sat on it for 2.5, almost 3 years. And I finally started the page. And I was like, you know what? I'm just going to do something with this. So in the future, I see Make It Rain Sunshine conferences with women, not just women, just people who need sunshine in any way that they can get it. And that could be through a conversation. That can be through making your face up. It could be through shopping. It could be through anything. We just need to make it rain sunshine for ourselves. And so
you have boundless energy, music career, entrepreneurship, web pages, upcoming clothing line. I mean, it seems like you're doing something all the time. What do you do to relax?
I literally, I would sit on my sofa for hours and just relax. I don't even watch TV. I'll read until I fall asleep. I'm usually surfing the internet, just finding what's next. I do like plants now. All of a sudden, I have these beautiful plant babies. And as of late, I just bought my daughter a puppy, which is my responsibility. So it's so cute, though. It's a mini golden doodle. And wow, they're upstairs now because it would be very loud down here. But yeah, so my relaxing hasn't been much relaxing over the holiday just because I have a new baby. I have to get up at 1 and
Oh
4
my
and
goodness.
you
Yeah,
know.
yeah.
So yeah, but I truly take time for myself. I enjoy um just doing nothing sometimes. Like just, meditating and praying and thanking God. I pray constantly. So that gives me a sense of ease as well to move to the next. I am full of energy, and I just feel like I'm almost 48. And so at 48, I'm just like, oh, okay, this is what it feels like. Okay, I'm good. I'm good. My mom just turned 80 and she looks amazing. I'm like, okay, hey, second phase of life is the best.
Well,
Here
you
we
you
go.
are just beautiful. I mean, as I said earlier, inside and out, and is like boundless energy, so talented, very, very giving. I know God is blessing you right now. I'm watching the song Redeemer rise up the charts. I am
Woo-hoo!
so happy for you. This is
Yes.
wonderful.
I find out where it lands because it was at number 3 before the holiday. So I've already manifested a number 1. It's coming.
That's right. That's right. And I see not only digital shows, but also maybe a broadcast show one day.
Absolutely. 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 I love people. God knows my heart. I love people. And oftentimes, when people are like, trying to make and build a life, they want all the materialistic things. Yes, I want to live nice. I want to drive a car that is nice. But my ultimate goal is to help people. There were times where I didn't have money at all. And I'm not where I want to be, but I'm not where I used to be. But I know the struggle, being a single parent, or being somebody's married with no money. So I just want to be able to help people. I do. I want to make money so I can just give it and give and give it, because it just makes me feel so good on the inside. I love people's smiles. I love surprising people. That's my thing. And so I know God is going to give me every single thing I've asked, because he's already like I'm watching it unfold, daily. So I'm just grateful. So
Thank
grateful.
you. Thank you. Thank you. This has just been wonderful. Bernice Strickland says the testimony is confirmation of God's continued grace and favor. And she thanks us. And I want to thank you. This has just been so enlightening. Your journey has been so inspirational. Thank you so much for the testimony. And I'm going to be praying for your
Oh,
music ministry and your continued success and all of the other things
yes.
do so well. So, Karima, if you could please give us a prayer to close out this wonderful conversation on
Absolutely.
HUR at Home
Absolutely.
Inspiration.
Dear Jesus, we thank you so very much for just who you are in our lives, God, just who you are, your presence, God. We thank you so much for all the things that you've given us, all the things that we have, that we can touch and feel, and all the things that you have to give us that are on the way. I ask that you give us patience, God. Give us clarity, God. Give us people, surround us with those who believe in us sometimes more than we need to believe in ourselves, God. We thank you for dying for us, God. We thank you that you are our Redeemer, and whatever we need, we can come to you because you are our source. There is no one like you, God. I just bless and praise your name, and I'm so thankful, God. I'm so thankful for Miss Gales and her show and the WHUR, the whole radio station. God, I ask that you would bless and give them everything that they are. I don't even know if they need anything, but God, just bless them, bless their journey, bless their ministry, God. Help it to reach the masses, God. I thank you so much for every single person that is tuned in, and everyone who will hear it later, that you may bless them through the words that they have heard tonight, God. I thank you. I love you. And there's no one like you. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen. Let the redeemed of the Lord say
Let him
so.
say so.
Karima, this has been outstanding. God bless you. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. I'm so excited. I look forward to you guys tasting the soup. My prayer, God showed me that it's going to be in stores. So that's coming too.
Okay. That's great. I'm going to be one of the first people.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah. Karima on HUR at Home Inspiration. And everyone, thank you so much for joining us. We could not do this without you. This has been a wonderful show to open up the new year. We were on hiatus during the holidays, but this was our first program of the new year with the outstanding, dynamic Karima. And coming up in the month of January of 2022, I'm looking forward to talking to the beautiful voice of Wintley Phipps, who's going to join us, and Reverend Nolan Williams Jr., outstanding composer, producer. He has an upcoming production at Ford's Theater. And we're also going to talk to the principals of Shekinah Glory Ministry. So please continue to join us on HUR at Home Inspiration, Sundays at 6 p.m. I'm Jackie Gales Webb. God bless you. Please be safe, and I'll see you next Sunday.